So we got 3 clues, didn't we? And those 3 clues really helped us put together a plan of attack, right? The first clue was that dollar channel. We had that bear channel on the dollar. And we knew this morning if the dollar would get down at the lows of the channel, it's probably going to rise back up, and that would be a way for us to be a seller. At the highs of the channel, it'll fall. We could be a buyer. First clue was the dollar correlation. The second clue here, again, mark up your trend line 1, mark up your trend line 2. What does that give me? That gives me a price wedge. And a price wedge tells me what? Sell the highs, buy the lows, fake out breakouts. Price goes up above the wedge, sell it, bring it back down. Price goes down below the wedge, buy it, bring it back up. And then the third clue, very easy, was the previous day's range. Monday's highs, Monday's lows, and where am I? I am just above those highs, conveniently located at the top of the wedge. And remember what happens if price goes above the previous highs, I'm going to be a buyer, unless of course I'm going into the high of that wedge. In this case, it failed and came back down below. It broke out and then came back down in, and when that happened, you guessed it, buyers fail. We are selling below the previous high of day. So what happened today? Well, we had to wait a little bit for it, but we ended up getting that dollar. That dollar ended up resting on support. Perfect timing when the Russell was hanging out at the highs of this wedge. And so when I find myself at dollar support, what am I trying to do? I'm looking for Russell at resistance. Russell was sitting at resistance, almost waiting for us, right, to sell those highs. A great job today. Very sloppy today. Second day in a row without any major news. It was pretty sloppy today. We found this bear channel here on the dollar. Okay, so here was the channel high. There was your channel low. And by 8:30 this morning, we were just about below that previous low of day. And again, our exact words were, we look for the higher percentage trades when the dollar is at a reversal point, major support or major resistance. So we said, wow, if this dollar can go down to the lows of that channel, won't this thing now be at support, and this thing now should come right back up off those lows? And then at the highs of that channel, we could then get the dollar to fall back down. So we knew right away at 8 o'clock, at 7:30 this morning, pretty much in the moment we opened up our charts, we knew exactly what our plan was going to be today. We knew we had to wait for that dollar to get down in the right spot for us. And you can see here, it happens just about 10 a.m., right? Just about 10 a.m. Right after 9:30, just about 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern time, we get that dollar down at those lows. Now, up top, here's my Russell. This is a 13 range chart of the Russell, one of my favorite time frames, one of my favorite markets. Don't forget, we begin our day just above that previous high of day. And if you recall, we had a wedge high hanging out up here somewhere. You can't see it on this chart. Slower time frame would be where we have that. This is a much faster time frame now, looking for day trading patterns. So we go up. I'm going to break above the previous high of day. Now remember, this is going to be a wave pattern. Okay, we talked about this in the room this morning. A perfect looking wave pattern because of its structure. It broke above the swing high, trigger line above the swing high, entry above the swing high. Only problem was, though, it was in the pre-market. All right, this is at about 8:45 this morning, so we couldn't take that trade long. Again, in the old days, the Russell had a lot of volume in the pre-market from 8:30 till 9:30, but nowadays that volume is pretty dried up. We see more volume in the euro, crude, and the gold, so we usually focus on that in the pre-market. So bottom line is we go above the previous high of day. You could buy a pullback there. It was a winner. We skipped it because of the pre-market. And this is where things get interesting. Normally, when we see, again, above the previous high of day, and then we fall below the previous high of day, that tells me what? Buyers have failed. Sellers now should push this thing all the way back down to the previous low of day. Well, that didn't happen, did it? And of course, I took 2 trades here trying to figure out who was in charge. Now, normally, if I take the first trade short, okay, and that was a loss, usually if I follow that up with the long trade here, usually that'll be a nice big healthy winner for me. Okay, so I took a loss trading short. It was higher risk. We knew it was higher risk because the exact time of that, right, the exact location of that looked fine, but it's an inside wave. And an inside wave pattern, we actually had a 21 range wave that was competing for our success. So ultimately, it was a 21 range wave pattern